Hello, welcome to Bourbon and a Baby. My name is Jay. Max will not be joining us today because Max is still a baby and he is still not able to drink even special Ohio only release bourbons. So I'm really excited tonight because I'm going to be tasting Old Overholt 114. Now, Old Overholt is a rye whiskey. It's generally known to be a bottom shelf dweller. It's really cheap. Maybe you use for cocktails, but not normally something that people rush out to get and to sip on. With that being said, the Jim Beam Distillery, which makes Old Overholt, they announced a few months back that they were going to have some Ohio only releases of this brand. So they released the Old Overholt 114, which is what I'll be sipping on here tonight. They also released an Old Overholt 11 year, which I almost bought, but comes in at like $75 for a bottle of Old Overholt, even though it's 11 years old. I wasn't about to pull the trigger on the $75 bottle of Old Overholt without trying it first. So I'm gonna have to try to find a sample of that at some point, see if it's worth it. But I went with the Old Overholt 114, an absolute steal at, I think after tax it came out to $29.99. So I'm really excited to give this a try. So let's go ahead and open it up. Still has a classic screw top on her. Okay. Now, I mentioned this is an Ohio only release. So it's got this little 2020 Ohio sticker little thing on it here. And here's what it says on the back. A storied 4-year rye. This whiskey pays tribute to our ryes produced during the Prohibition era. Non-chill filtering helps retain a naturally full and robust flavor profile. And cut to 114 proof, it is historically rooted in the traditional maturation barrel strength of the time. Then there's this little thing about the 2020 Ohio release. Home to the Industrial Revolution and historically tied to this brand, we celebrate the state of Ohio's strength and importance with this special release. Well, thanks, Old Overholt. We here in Ohio appreciate you for it. So yeah, as I said, 114 proof, non-chill filtered, 4 years old. So pretty exciting stuff here. Let's go ahead and check out the nose. For a rye whiskey, it's pretty sweet. So I'm guessing this is going to be a lower rye mash bill. Obviously, it'll have to be at least 51% rye, but I'm guessing it's not up in the 80s or 90% range for rye. I'm guessing it's probably in that lower 51 to 60 some percent. There's not, for being 114 proof, I expected to get a stronger kind of ethanol kick, but it's actually really mellow so far, that's nice. It has kind of this like dark, almost like a, I don't know if this makes sense, but like a dark wood, trending a little towards some furniture polish. But then I get some sweet, like brown sugar. And like, kind of a licorice note coming through too, which isn't something that I like to be dominant in my whiskeys. So we'll see how that turns out for me. as this kind of opens up a bit in the glass, I'm starting to get like that traditional caramel that you get from a bourbon. Yeah, caramel, brown sugar, licorice, a little furniture polish, a little bit of oakiness. Overall, a pleasing nose. Not one that I'm gonna like go wild and crazy over, but I like it. Pretty good. A little bit of bubble gum in there too. Strangely enough, like your generic bubble gum, like Double Bubble or something like that. Now that's like almost all I can get now is that bubble gum, which is weird. All right, let's take a taste. Cheers. Woo! That is spicy. Holy moly. All of that spice that I did not get on the nose came through on that first sip there. Little hot, which good, like a nice warm Kentucky hug here in Ohio. But not, even though it was nice and warm and hot, it wasn't like knock your socks off. So that proof point is there. Like you can tell that it's a higher proof, but at the same time it's not like overpowering. So it's actually a pretty good proof point, I think. Let's give this another sip. Now that that spice has kind of cooled down a little bit, the finish I'd say so far was kind of short because it's kind of, I'm not really picking anything up anymore. But I'm still feeling that warmness from the proof coming down here. Yeah, definitely get more of that rye spice. There's like a little bit of a tobacco flavor coming through, kind of hitting the sides of my tongue. There's a bit of oakiness. And like the finish is where I get most of the sweeter stuff that I got on the nose. But it's really light. A light caramel. I'm not even really getting the brown sugar that I got on the nose. It's almost like like you're smoking a caramel flavored cigar with that tobacco and caramel mix. It's kind of an interesting taste here. Not traditionally what I would say a rye would taste like. I don't know if I would even, if I was blinded with this, if I would identify this as a rye. Because even though it is pretty spicy, most ryes, at least that I've had, tend to kind of really punch harder with that kind of rye spice. So this, to me, tastes a little bit more like a high rye bourbon. But yeah, I mean, is this the best thing I've ever had? No. But it's good and it's cool. It's interesting. I like a couple things about it. I like that it's 114 proof. I like that it's a special only kind of Ohio only release. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, if I didn't live in Ohio, I probably wouldn't think that was as cool. I would probably be annoyed at that. But since I live here, I think it's cool. And yeah, I like that they kept it cheap. You know, even pumped it up to 114 proof. So even if this isn't something I would reach for to sip neat or whatever, this would definitely do well in a cocktail and hold up really well in a cocktail. But I could see it kind of being both. I could see, you know, drinking this on its own or with a cube from time to time, and also throwing it in a cocktail. I'm starting to pick up more on that oak now that I've had a couple more sips. It's kind of a little bit dry, but yeah, even like I mentioned tobacco, but I'm also picking up a little bit of like leather too. So oaky, leathery, tobacco-y, and then you get more of that kind of smooth, sweet caramel on the finish. So yeah, pretty good. Not the most amazing thing I've ever had, but I'm not disappointed I bought it. I will, like I said, I'll drink this, and I'll probably drink it and mix it in cocktails. Use this a little bit of both. I'm actually kind of curious to see to try this as an old fashioned. I think this would actually make a pretty good old fashioned. I think the sweetness of the sugar and you know, a little bit of orange peel will kind of balance well with the spiciness of the palate of this. So yeah, really curious. I'm definitely gonna have to try this as an old fashioned. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. That would help Max and myself out greatly. You can follow Max and myself on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Bourbon and a Baby on all of those platforms. And last but not least, you can buy yourself a nice Bourbon and a Baby hat, like the one I'm wearing here, at our shop on Spreadshirt. I'll throw that link in the description below. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Cheers. Yeah, it's good. Pretty good. All right, so now it's time to add this to our Bourbon and a Baby Infinity Blend. So we're gonna throw an ounce of Old Overholt 114 into our Infinity bottle here. Try to do so without spilling too much of it. Well, wasn't super successful in not spilling, but there we go.